Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, this is Steve Reifman. How are you?
Steve Reifman, and is F.T. Burke with you, or is it just you?
He's here, but he's not going to. We decided since it's not that long that one would be better.
All right, cool. Well, that's all right. You're the real deal anyway.
Well, I'm the guy that did it, but he's the guy that wrote it.
Like what Brian Wilson was and Dennis Wilson. Dennis Wilson went surfing and told Brian, and Brian wrote about it.
Yeah.
From what I understand, you've actually... all right, let's start our interview. First of all, let's just go. Hits 106, Greatest Hits Radio. Good morning. I'm Marvelous Marvin, and on the radio with me, I've got Steve Reifman. He, along with a fellow named F.T. Burke, have written this book called Wanderer, The Ultimate Hippy Trail Journey. An amazing journey. What a long, strange trip it's been, if I can say that. And good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, Florida.
This book, yeah, we love it. We love it in Florida. There's some hippies around here in Florida. I think most of many more are in Asheville, North Carolina. Whatever happened to the hippies, Steve? First of all, where are they? I'd like to find some right now.
Well, it's interesting. I did a year on the road, and the book does follow the exact trail that I took. It highlights the exact methods of travel, so it's totally accurate in regard to my actual journey. The book, however, is fiction, and there are some events in it that certainly did not take place in my life. Some I wish they did, and some I'm glad they didn't. But it makes for a very interesting read. But I will tell you this, one of the people that I was able to find, and all the people I travel with, I can't find any of them after 50 years, except for Marshall in Florida. He's a lawyer in Florida. I'm not going to mention his last name, but he's a buddy, and I actually have communicated with him, and he's the only fellow I found from my travels. I actually met up with him on the Sea of Marmara in Turkey, and we hitchhiked together through Turkey and Greece and into what was then called Yugoslavia. It was so long ago that Yugoslavia was one country. It was still communist, and now it's made up of 5 separate countries.
A lot of the places that you went to don't exist anymore, and probably a lot of the people that you met don't exist anymore either. This is the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, and as we tape this interview, today is Bob Dylan's 78th birthday. And I love how you put music in this book, because really the soundtrack in the 60s, it's all right there. The whole hippie ethos is right there on the radio, and the music is all through your book.
Yes, and Fred did a great job of including some wonderful verses from some of the great songs of that era. But one of the things that is so important about the travel was that we left our culture behind, and we mourned the loss of our music. People had little music machines, but it was nothing like today. I think you cannot overestimate the dramatic difference in the lack of technology that we had in those days. We didn't even have credit cards. Cell phone, forget about it. You were lucky to get 2 phone calls into your family in a year, and you had to go to a post office at 6 o'clock in the morning and hope you could catch them. The whole technology.
You hope the Western Union had your money that your family sent, otherwise you're stranded without anything whatsoever. And this journey probably couldn't be possible today doing it the way you did it, because you wouldn't be without a cell phone. And back then you had to rely on your wits and actually communicate with people from all over the world and look them in the eyes and have interaction with the people all over the world in different countries. And what is your character, Woodstock? Or I don't know if we call you Steve or Woodstock. You're sort of synonymous.
Well, Woodstock is...
What did Woodstock and what did Steve find out from meeting all these people face-to-face back in the days when we actually used to talk to each other face-to-face?
A lot of it was to smile. You might even put your hands and bow. You learn to count 1 to 10. You learn how to say thank you, you're welcome, no thanks, yes, no. And you got through. But it was a very personal situation, especially considering the character in the book as well as myself personally. We actually left home alone. We traveled, met people, and came home alone. So most of the travel was being alone in a totally foreign culture where the languages were exceedingly changing, difficult, and there were all kinds of challenges. And I think back to it, and I'm not sure how the heck I did it, frankly, but I think that we all experience it when we go into a country where you can't speak the language. And that becomes quite interesting and challenging. In North Africa, I call Pidgin French, I learned in high school, and the Arabic people spoke Pidgin French, that was their second language, because the French had conquered Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco, and then left it, and these people all knew French. In fact, in each of these countries, they had French-type cities where you could get a baguette, French pastries, and all kinds of things of the French culture, but the predominant culture was Arabic, in Morocco in particular. I spent over a month in Morocco, as does the character in the book. Fascinating place, exotic.
You know, I was in Cuba, all right, and you don't realize it, but there's a huge Chinatown in Cuba.
Oh, there we go.
There's a great Chinese food right there in the heart of Havana. But Woodstock learns a lot about different people, different cultures, but also the character Woodstock and you, Steve. You also learn about yourself in all these journeys.
Absolutely. It was a journey of self-fulfillment, of findings. In fact, for me personally, and I think it's reflected in the book, is you always found that everybody had God wherever you went. So this character and myself personally was someone, well, what about God? Well, you know, when you go around the world and you spend a whole year and everywhere you go they got God, I found that a little bit difficult to deny personally. So I'm not one that would challenge the idea of God. I think I'm not going to get so far to say the fear of God necessarily, but at least the acceptance of the fact that there must be some almighty power, because I can't imagine they would have built that little temple up in Srinagar, Kashmir, in a corner or someplace. And why is it God is everywhere? Why is it that mankind always prays to a God? Seems to me, maybe God exists.
They all didn't see it on Oral Roberts, that's for sure.
It was a different sort of Oral Roberts. We had a review of the book done, and the guy ends it by saying, very unusual way of dealing with culture and God, you know, because it was kind of a stumbling along. The story is called Wanderer because, in fact, the character doesn't quite know where he's going. He has no real reason to return to the United States. He's becoming a dropout in a sense, taking the hippie culture with him, which is, of course, shocking to the rest of the world at this point. People didn't have long hair. The character had long, curly hair that went down in ringlets, red, Shirley Temple-style curls. So he made quite a striking appearance. I remember being in Spain with a couple of Swiss German guys who I met going along in Spain, actually. And these guys would say to me, man, you got to see the way these people are looking at you. He said, you walk down the street and everyone is absolutely staring at you. They cannot take their eyes off you. And I said, okay. But I was kind of oblivious to that stuff. I had to be. Because if I would have taken that seriously, how could I wear this crazy style with me and go all across the world without being pretty, in some way, oblivious to those kind of confrontations? Although I did have times when...
You're staring at all the other people who are also dressed bizarrely compared to, the Western world, what we're used to. But that's one of the many things I love about the book, Wanderer, the ultimate hippie trail journey, is that you just find out that we're all one, and it's just an amazing journey. And we need more hippies. We need more people just to go out and travel because, it seems that we're more divided than ever. But when you go out and actually meet people, then we're all pretty much all the same. Like you say, we all have a God out there.
Yes, we do. And I'd just like to indicate that the book is available on Amazon. You can get it in Kindle. We haven't done a recorded version yet, but we have a really great website that is really worth looking at. It's called wandererbook.com, and it really shows the whole journal. We were in over 26 countries, and each and every leg of the journey is chronicled with photographs that were attempted to make to the period time 50 years ago. So that is a great way to glimpse it.
And you go to places you couldn't go now, like just go walking around in Iran, you go to Morocco, you go to places that don't even exist anymore, all through the Middle East, North Africa, and I love the whole philosophy of the Wanderer. It's like that the Beatles song and the medley on Abbey Road, oh, that magic feeling, nowhere to go.
Yes, sir. Out of college, money spent. Pay no future.
The Western world and got to put on the suit and be a lawyer.
Here I am. I got a tie on today, but it's a Grateful Dead tie, and I feel good about it.
Steve Reifman, thank you so much for joining us, along with F.T. Burke. They've written this amazing book. We need to read this book now. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding, as they say. Time to kick out the jams, as the MC5 used to say, too.
Thank you, Marvin.
Detroit philosophy. Wanderer, the ultimate hippie trail journey. And Steve, thank you so much, and continued success with your book. It's a wonderful book, and it's something that we need right now for sure.
Thank you, my friend. Goodbye to everybody in Florida.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Nice guy, very helpful.